Good afternoon, folks. Hope you're all well. It's nice and sunny here in countryside. We're enjoying a respite from the two-day heat wave. We want to call, if you can call it a heat wave, that we experienced last week with over 100-degree temperatures here. Very, very hot. Very, very unpleasant. Mind you, we didn't get it here in northern Illinois, or at least in my little corner of northern Illinois, nearly as bad as Lee, as anywhere, as other places in the country, and other places around the world. So, two things to be thankful for: that we've got some cool weather at the moment, and we're not dealing with, say, like the floods and the fires in Canada, or the fires in Canada, the mudslides in California, etc., etc. So that's always good. I wanted to talk a little bit today about, seems like something of a tempest in a teapot going around these days about, in general, lyrics, song lyrics particularly, and what people can assume about the writer of the lyrics from the lyrics. And I have a little bit of experience both as a joke maker, upper, and teller, as well as a little bit of a lyricist and songwriter. And I can tell you it's important to keep in mind that the dramatic situation of a text or set of lyrics tells you practically, if not literally, nothing about how the writer of those lyrics felt about them, how close it was to his or her, they were to his or her heart. Because, and the reason for that is when you think about it, you have to keep in mind that art has to be able to deal with disturbing subjects, and it has always dealt with disturbing subjects, and because if they don't, then you're shooting a lot of artists in the foot, figuratively speaking. So for example, a librettist is hired to write a libretto, or the book, I guess it's referred to now in musical theater, to write the book about a drama of some sort, in which there are several very, very, very grisly murders, and those things are going to be part of the drama, presented as part of the play. Well, you got to have bad guys in order for that kind of thing to be possible in playwriting. And if you're going to have to write for a bad guy or a bad person or a bad gal or whatever, a villain, put it that way, a villain, then you have to be able to put appropriate words into your villain's mouth, right? And chances are that villain is going to express some dark thoughts, very, 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 very dark thoughts. And yes, while it's true the playwright or the lyricist or whatever, or whomever, wrote those words, they were written for a character in a play. And that's totally devoid. That's got nothing to do with the actual person of the playwright, of the lyricist, or of the poet, whatever. It doesn't. It tells you nothing about that. It tells you nothing about it. And so I think it's important to keep in mind that, just because someone's dealing with just because a piece is dealing with, starvation or whatever, or some really dark topic, it doesn't tell you really anything about the mindset of the person who wrote the piece. And people, particularly not terribly knowledgeable people, and probably quite and often inexperienced artistically people who are artistically inexperienced in terms of writing will tend to assume that, well, this has to mean something, and so a text will mean something in the context of a dramatic situation, and it will make sense in the terms of a dramatic situation, but it's just the dramatic situation. Song texts don't necessarily tell you anything. If it's a song about an ugly situation, if it's something that's ugly or disturbing affect, then yeah, they will be disturbing. But it doesn't mean that the person writing it believes it in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes, and this is from my own personal experience, that if you get an idea for a text, I think, that rhymes with this. Okay, that's that's an interesting basis for some text. So what can I do with that? And then eventually you might come up with something. I don't know, something like the idea of elucidate and euclidate, which is the basis of one of my earlier videos. Elucidate, rearranged, are the two words euclidate. Let's see if how this goes. Among the many times they theorized and shared, we really, really think his pies were squared, but of the shapes of food their master Euclid ate? Yes, geometers surely did and do elucidate. And that just happens to be a text concocted, a tale or a situation in which those euclidate and elucidate, that ability to respell something, makes a consistent unity, a text. And it doesn't necessarily tell you anything about the inner workings of my skull, which is probably just as well. So, yeah. That's right, art deals with a lot of ugly subjects. But it has to be able to do that. Otherwise, what kind of stuff would you have on TV? What would you watch? So, texts, fun to read, but don't read too much into them, or any kind of art. Because sometimes an opera is just a cool story, or something happens and it reaches to a climax and ends. And that's it. That's all it is. It's an entertainment. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.